remasters, remakes, definite editions, whatever you're gonna call it. On this video, I am going to talk about them. So obviously today's topic will mostly be my opinion, as most of the discussion videos are, well, they are the discussion videos. So obviously it's an opinion and I expect some form of a feedback. But anyhow, I have not done one in quite a long time, since for the past 3 months or so I have been uploading at least 10 episodes on a weekly basis. And if you have a limited hardware, it takes a long time to record, render, edit, and especially upload on YouTube, because I just love it when I get that error screen that something has went wrong and I cannot even copy the video description into the new upload and I have to start all over again. So yeah, but if you are new to the channel or you are a returning viewer, welcome, and let us talk about this topic, as I got a few things to say. Also, a disclaimer, I'm going to probably refer to all these versions, remasters, remakes, definite editions, or whatever you want to call it, as one thing, or remasters simply. So if this is gonna annoy you, have been warned.
Not Your Professional Walkthroughs channel presents.
So most of you were able to recently notice the dramatic increase in remasters being released either on Steam or any of the other platforms which you are preferring. If you did not notice, trust me, after watching this video, you will. But how should I approach this topic? Because it's not that simple, to be honest. Should I just simply make a pros and cons list telling you how bringing games from the 32-bit era or even far back beyond into the new 64-bit era is a good thing, or should I try to come up with some other system? I might give it a shot, so bear with me here, as of course I will probably miss something, and you should let me know what the other thing might potentially be in the comment section. So let's take a look at the pros. The first thing which comes to my mind is of course the compatibility with the modern systems. As I said previously, lots of old games have issues running on today's computers, and even if you have an older system, an older game will still give you some issues due to the time at which the game was created and distributed. And we all know that no game will be forever supported by its developer. Unless we're talking about World of Warcraft, because apparently that game will never die. So yeah, this is quite the massive plus when it comes to letting developer studios bring us content from far back in the days, where you can forget about booting up your system from an SSD, right? Another huge plus might be the improvements in AI, textures, graphics, and even more. Now honestly, I'm going to bundle this all up into one massive plus, because, I mean, come on, even Stevie Wonder would notice the difference between Age of Empires 2, the Definite Edition, and the original one, which was released back in 1999. Damn, that game is old. And it's usually true that if you go see any people or, I don't know, stores or relatives, and someone shows you what kind of games they're currently playing or whatever they have on their consoles, this is usually my case. I see that it's always the newer stuff with the newer engine, the newer graphics, the better, crispier looking details.
It allows us to have 16 times the detail.
The fact that the consoles and other things might not be able to fully utilize the details, that's a topic for another video. But yeah, It's a definite plus that the textures are better and we as a community can appreciate this, which will also bring me to the next point. By remastering an old game or bringing it back to life, you are introducing it to a much larger audience. So obviously creating a bigger community around the older game is a definite plus. Why is this important? Well, for the studio behind the game which they decide to remaster, remake, or whatever you want to call it, it can be an easier way to make some money on an IP they already own, and they don't have to spend millions on marketing. I mean, compare Age of Empires 2, the Definite Edition, with, let's say, the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077, right? Do you think Microsoft Game Studios have the budget to hire Keanu Reeves to say,
"You're breathtaking"?
no? You have an existing IP where you can use all the data from the original game and improve it. It is cheaper to make than creating a brand new game and developing a whole new engine to support said game. Think Horizon Zero Dawn. This is exactly what they had to do. They had to create a new engine that would support those massive robots to see if it would even work, which cost them a lot of time, a lot of money. So this is something that Remaster might avoid for the studios, which is why you might see them trying to put out more of the remasters out there. But to be perfectly honest, not really sure if it's that much cheaper. It really depends on how much work and effort goes into the remasters, because based on what I have seen from other channels who have been doing this for years now, and they got their hands on some of the games, the remasters were so badly handled that they were buggy or unfinished or just rushed to be released, just solely looking like a simple cash grab, while others like, once again, Age of Empires were not only handled well, but also keep constantly getting patches or events to keep the new community which has been gathered around the titles still playing the game. Right, currently I think there is like a October Teutonic event for the Age of Empires 2. I mean, there are way better channels for Age of Empires than I will ever be. My ass gets kicked by the new AI on a lot of maps, and that is due to me trying to get the achievements for some of the nations, as apparently I just cannot win with the Koreans for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard to say if the monetary value from a brand new title or a remaster for a new or an old game will be better for a studio and also for the community. But like I said, certain titles and people growing up with certain games will be more than happy to see that they will be able to run the games from far back in the day on their new systems. Red Alert or whatever other first RTS games which are getting remasters are now popular, and people can enjoy even the multiplayer aspect, which has gone down years ago by the studios. So yeah, this is definitely a massive plus. The next potential plus, which might be a possibility thanks to a remaster, is generating interest or enough monetary value for the studio to consider creating a sequel. Look, certain games from back in the days were not fully finished. The storyline was just left on a huge cliffhanger, waiting for you to get a sequel, right? So what I'm really hoping to see is that the remasters will do well enough for some titles that the studios might consider continuation of the story and possibly making a sequel. Like for example, the game 13, which I'm currently covering on the channel. These are like the biggest pros I was able to come up with, to be perfectly honest. If you got more, let me know. I can surely understand that, for example, like multiplayer servers and such might be a great thing, but I'm really trying to think about the whole remasters in the macro point of view instead of the micro. So some of the features which might be really beneficial, I might skip away from just because I don't want this video to be 1 hour long. Anyhow, let's talk about the cons. My favorite part of the list, obviously, because I'm one of the most extremely pessimistic people, or I just call it being honest, because face it, honesty is 90% rudeness. So if you share your honest opinion, you will almost always offend someone. So let's talk about the first negative thing about remasters: creating something original. Okay, so in order for you to understand my point of view, think of an idea for a video. Go ahead, take your time. You got something? Okay, now I want you to go and type it into the search bar for YouTube. Just don't do it on this video. Keep watching this video and do it on next screen, okay? Chances are someone has already done it or something similar. If you, however, managed to come up with something which you were unable to find, then I suggest you start creating content. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. But this can prove to be quite a challenge, right? Coming up with something original. If you are a game developer or a studio that needs to create that next big thing that will draw in the masses, and even then you need to be careful on how you do it, because you can end up like the studio behind No Man's Sky. All of you guys remember that, right? Promising that you might run into other players in the massive galaxy, and when the game launched it was a total fiasco and the developer just suffered from all the memes and the backlash and even the refunds which Steam and other platforms had to issue for the game. Currently the game is actually, apparently based on what I was able to observe on YouTube, quite playable and there is a lot of content. Will I pick it up? Probably no. But this is just one of the examples to show that coming up with a new idea might be really difficult to pull off. It might not be exactly like a whole brand new thing, like for example when the iPhone launched, right? It launched a brand new industry into the world, giving millions of people jobs in app development and other parts, right? But coming up with some form of a new thing, I mean, I think we have done most of the game genres or ideas which can be applied. Turn-based strategies, MMORPGs, first-person shooters. It's really hard to create the next big thing. And I think EA with their weird title which totally failed is one of the perfect examples. They have spent millions on this idea, and when you took a look at the reviews, all you heard was that there are just loading screens on top of loading screens on top of loading screens. So what's the point, right? So yeah, creating something new and original is difficult, and this can be connected to the next point. Cash grab. So honestly, this is a big one for me, because god damn it, Bethesda, how many times will you re-release The Elder Scrolls 5? If I want to launch Fallout New Vegas and start a brand new game, it's freaking impossible. But for you to keep re-releasing Elder Scrolls is not a problem. Also, recently I saw that they are planning, but I thought this was just a joke by like IGN. Wait, hold on a minute. Are you freaking kidding me? Crysis Remastered? I cannot even run the original one on my laptop, and it has better score on 3D Mark test than my 10-year-old system, which I left to my parents. How can you explain remastering Crysis? That's it. I give up. This is horrible. Come on. Yeah, so honestly, this can be related to the lack of imagination or creativity, but a lot of times I saw these games being re-released and just ended up being simple cash grab attempt, giving slight improvements. Look, I honestly bought The Elder Scrolls 5, the special edition. It was on one of the many Steam sales, so I can play all the DLC which has been released, right? But to be perfectly honest, remastering Crysis, why would you even do that? The game looks like it does not age. And I mean, for Christ's sake, there are new games which look even worse than Crysis. And also, the studio behind Crysis is no longer a thing. I remember back in the day when Crysis 2 went up, there was even the possibility for you to play the multiplayer and PvP arena with other people. And because the studio was in financial issues or just had problems maintaining itself, they had to shut this service down because it was not full of monetization like Call of Duty, right? So really, Crysis, that's just lazy. So your feelings might be different too. I can tell you that I got the History Edition of Anno 1404 because I love that game. I know Anno 1800 has been released and it looks beautiful, but if I try to run Anno 1800 on my laptop, it looks worse than the Minesweeper. So obviously, being able to play the older title without experiencing the issues with the memory and the crashes in the game is awesome. Now, could have Ubisoft dealt with this without monetization? I believe so. They could have released like a patch or something which would basically just push the game from the 32-bit systems into 64 bits, and we would not have to pay for it. But they had to monetize it, so I paid those 14 euros or however it was at the time when I bought it. And honestly, I cannot complain about the game. It still looks beautiful. It's one of my favorite city builder games ever. So yeah, and yeah, it's just the fact that some of us being able to play these older games, and we know that they can run smoothly, but we are experiencing a lot of crashes or incompatibility with the modern systems or the new graphics engines or just the new drivers for your GPUs is really annoying. So having a remaster can be a godsend on one hand, and on another hand it can be a total load of crap. But, well, what can I say? I'm a hypocrite. There are games which I'm really looking forward to being remastered. There are games which I cannot fathom the thought of buying a remaster, because if you're gonna remaster Crysis, that tells me that you're gonna remaster also Crysis 2 and potentially Crysis 3, right? Why would you do that? The games look great, and with the new graphics cards and processors and everything, the new system on a budget will run the game much better than what was the recommended system requirement from back in the day when the game was released. So yeah, remasters are going to be a big business now, and we're going to see a lot of older titles come maybe back. As when studios were shut down and they were acquired by other companies, specifically the IPs which they owned, well, the new studio will try to monetize the IPs somehow. So for example, the remasters for Mafia, despite the fact that a few years back Mafia 3 was released, and I heard all sorts of mixed reviews about it. I haven't played it personally, not sure if I will ever get to it, I will see. But yeah, it's hard to tell which is the right way and which is the bad way when it comes to the remasters. And therefore, I want to ask you, the viewer, are remasters good or are they bad from your point of view? I don't think there is truly honest answer, and I still feel like some of them are just a lazy cash grabs from certain studios, while others are really great thing to let us experience games which we were, for example, never able to experience. So yeah, I'm quite sure that before the Elder Scrolls 6 will be released eventually, we will see many more remasters and definite editions of the previous Elder Scroll and other crap like this, but since also Bethesda started to monetize even the mods, I mean, I don't know how you feel about the Creation Club. I'm just not really sure what to do, as many of the mods which were before Creation Club was a thing released, which was a work of like one person or just a small group of friends who wanted to make the game better. And I mean, the mods made the game look 10 times better than any of the releases. So I'm not really sure what you think about some of these things. So that will be probably it for the discussion video. I mean, today, movies, games, hell, apparently my friend let me know that there is even remasters for the adult movies, because apparently thanks to COVID and so many delivery services popping up for food delivery, Pizza Boys are back in business. I don't know. We're just going to see a lot more of this, either when it's all the Disney live action remakes or God knows what else. So yeah, would just a simple backup compatibility be enough to draw new people to old games? Or is it really necessary to keep releasing older titles for the new generations who, when the games came up, either did not have money, did not have console, weren't working, or just did not come across the game itself. You let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna be more than happy to know your feedback of what you think about the remasters themselves as they are. Also, I would like to let you know that I publish content on a weekly basis, so if you are looking for playthroughs, reviews, discussions, tips and tricks, and more, check out the channel, link is in the description. If you did like the video, consider giving it a like. If you did not like it, which I'm quite sure most of you will not like it, well then you can use the dislike button. I won't argue with it. And yeah, I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day, and hopefully I will see you at the next one. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and bye bye.